piecewise defined functions. This is probably a very, very new topic for you. So this is one I'm going to take some time on. We're going to have quite a few videos for this topic. I'm going to try to go extra slow. I know you probably think I go fast in general. I'm going to try to be slow, I promise, and really work on this section by section a little bit, because this is going to be new, so this might be a bit of a challenge. So here's the example. A dog groomer charges $50 for any dog weighing less than or equal to 40 pounds. For dogs that weigh more than 40 pounds, you still pay the 50 bucks plus $1 for every pound over 40. All right, so let's say you have a teeny tiny little dog and your dog weighs 10 pounds. How much is it going to cost to get that dog groomed? Well, it says 50 bucks if your dog is less than or equal to 40 pounds. So if your dog only weighs 10 pounds, you're still going to pay 50 bucks. If your dog weighs 20 pounds, 20 pounds is still less than the 40, so you pay 50 bucks. If your dog weighs 40 pounds, it says you pay $50 for any dog weighing less than or equal to 40 pounds. So if your dog weighs exactly 40 pounds, you still pay $50. Okay, now here's where something changes. What happens if your dog weighs 50 pounds? Well, if you weigh more than 40 pounds, you pay the 50 bucks still. Plus $1 for every pound over 40. So if your dog weighs 50 pounds, then 50 minus 40 is 10. You're 10 pounds over the 40. So you're going to pay an extra $10 because you pay $1 for every pound. So for a 50-pound dog, you end up paying $60. What if your dog's even bigger? What if your dog weighs 75? Or 70, it says. So if your dog weighs 70, that's more than 40, so you still pay the 50 bucks. But then your dog is 30 pounds over the $40 weight, or over the 40 weight limit. So 70 minus 40 is 30, so you have to pay $1 for every pound. That means you pay 30 bucks. So for a 70-pound dog, you pay $80. One more, if your dog weighs 95 pounds, you pay the 50 bucks still, and then 95 minus 40 is 45. So it costs you $95. Okay, so this is why these are called piecewise functions. Notice here, if your dog is 40 pounds or less, there's one rule. If your dog is 40 pounds or less, you pay a flat 50 bucks. Once your dog is more than 40 pounds, you have a second rule. And that's why these are called piecewise functions. Your function really has two rules. There's one rule for a light dog, a dog under 40 pounds, and then there's a second rule for a heavy dog, a dog over 40 pounds. Alright, so from the table, we notice that how we determine the cost of grooming changes. That means the cost of grooming is a piecewise function. That's just a fancy way of saying that our function will be split into multiple pieces. In this case, we will have one piece for a dog less than or equal to 40, and another piece for dogs weighing over 40. Okay, let C be the cost for grooming a dog, and W be the weight of the dog. Write a formula for the cost of grooming a dog weighing 40 pounds or less. So we would write that this way. The cost is, well, if your dog weighs 40 pounds or less and its weight really doesn't matter, you pay $50. But then we write the rule weighing 40 pounds or less. So we write if W is less than or equal to 40. To explain that the dog has to be less than or equal to 40, you simply pay $50. Write a formula for the cost of grooming a dog weighing more than 40 pounds. All right, this one's a little complicated. So the cost is, if the dog weighs more than 40 pounds, you pay the $50. Plus, now look what happened here. Where did the 10, the 30, and the 45 come from? The 10 came from this dog weighed 50 pounds. We took 50 minus 40. We got the 10 extra pounds, and then we paid $1 for every pound. The 30 came from 70 minus 40. The 45 came from 95 minus 40. So the variable here is W, is the weight of the dog, but what has to go here is W minus 40. So the first $40 is, or the first 40 pounds is taken care of by this $50. This is the extra weight of the dog. If the dog weighs 60 pounds, then we have to pay 20 more bucks, and the way we get 20 bucks is we do 60 minus 40. And this would be if W is greater than 40. Okay, so then what tends to happen is we put this all together in one fancy formula. And the fancy formula looks like this. We write C equals, and then we write a big curly bracket. And then we write both of these rules. So it's $50 if W is less than or equal to 40. And it's 50 plus W minus 40. I'll put the brackets in, although they're not really needed, if W is greater than 40. And this, what we've written, is called a piecewise function. And again, it's called piecewise because it's really two different functions put together as two pieces. We have one piece, one rule for a small dog. We have a second rule for a big dog. Okay, finally here, it asks us to graph. W is pretending to be the x's, so W is weight, so I think I would go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, I guess. And then C's are the Y's, this is cost. I'm going to go, and leave myself a lot of space here. I'm going to go 25, 50, 75, 100, I guess. And what happens? Well, what happens is the cost is always exactly $50 until I get to 40 pounds. So what that means is we have horizontal line. And I put a dot there because it's got the equal to. So it's always exactly 50. If the dog weighs 10, I pay 50. If the dog weighs 15, I pay 50. So on and so forth. Now, what happens here? What happens here is every time I gain a pound, I gain $1. Right? And that's what it says up here in the rule, that you pay $1 extra for every extra pound. And we have a couple dots that we can use to help us graph. 50 pounds, $60. That would be right around here. 75 pounds, or 70 pounds we had was $80. That would be like so. So what's happening here is we're getting a line still. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see what I was doing there. We get a line, but not a horizontal line. And so piecewise graphs will very often look like this. There'll be one part for a while, another part for a while. Okay, so that's going to end video number 1. Let you sit down and think about that for a minute for this section, and then I'll start video number 2.